Hey, just here on a glorious autumn day to talk about the end of the world and should we be worried? Should we be concerned? I feel like it's a bit of a race to see what's going to finish us off really at the moment. It's like people are still getting the knickers in a twist about global warming, but I think, well, what's the point in even worrying if there's going to be, a nuclear war, or we're all going to be wiped out by the next pandemic or whatever. So, I just think, or there's going to be economic collapse and everyone's going to be eating each other or something like that. Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll be one of them, or maybe it'll be the surprise alien invasion, as some people are predicting. But I think the main thing is just not to panic and enjoy the time we've got on this planet. I remember years ago when I got into conspiracies and things, saying to my neighbour, who was a lot older, a bit of an old hippie, I remember saying some stuff to her and she'd be like, oh God, I've heard all this before. Everyone in the 60s was always talking about this and how there's going to be a complete collapse of society, and it never came to fruition. So there's probably no point in worrying too much about it, but it's always good to follow it a little bit if you can. But yeah, I think you've got to take it all with a pinch of salt, really. Yeah, and fear porn, as I call it. I like that term. I think I heard that somewhere once. So yeah, like a lot of news, whether it's alternative or normal news, is very much fear porn, I would say. And I guess it's because people are more likely to read and click on it, Otherwise, if all's well in the world, people just don't bother looking. So I guess that's partly what it is. Going back to the alien thing, which is going around a little bit, it wouldn't surprise me if they do try some kind of alien narrative, because I think what they're aiming for really, and what they would like to happen, is a one world government and one world currency, and also a one world army. And I think there's not really much support for that, but let's just imagine next week the aliens were supposedly attacking us. I think very quickly, almost immediately, everyone would be calling for a one world army. So it'd be like, we must unite against these outside forces. But it's all a bit convenient if that does happen, when they're wanting to do that anyway, isn't it? So I would be highly suspicious if that does occur. I'm not saying there aren't any aliens, I'm not saying I don't believe in them, but who's to say if they do exist, maybe they're actually good, why would they be bad? Why would they want to hurt us? And a lot of people that I listen to that are more like into the higher dimensions say that they're actually already here within us anyway, and been watching Earth for a long time, and their main concern is actually that we are going to destroy ourselves, which you can see why they'd be worried about that, because apparently Earth is quite an important planet. If you think about the whole planetary system, we are, as far as we know, a very special planet already within our solar system. So there's not many planets like Earth, and yeah, I have heard that they would actually only interfere in the event of some kind of nuclear catastrophe or something, where they would actually try and stop it. They would be trying to save the planet, not necessarily the people, but certainly the planet. So I don't think they want to escalate things. So it would totally go against all of that if they were to attack us. I think what's more likely, as I say, is some kind of fake alien invasion, which I don't know what they'd make of that. That'd be quite strange if they are watching us. They'd be like, what are they doing? But yeah, I know at the end of the Second World War, the Nazis actually were working on kind of like very much like flying saucer type things. I remember seeing a black and white picture, and it was taken at the end of the war when they kind of captured everything. And I think it was definitely the Americans that took all of that stuff, including the spaceship thing, back to their country. And I think they took the scientists too, because obviously they probably saw them as quite valuable, even if they were on the wrong side. I don't think they really care if they've got the knowledge, you know, they just want to know how these things work. So if you think that was like well over, like, you know, 70 years ago, so if they've been working on it all that time, working on these flying saucer type, you know, things, then if we do see things appearing from out, you know, what seems to be out of space, how do we know? How do we know if that is genuine? So, I would be a bit suspicious about that, definitely. Yeah, I mean, about 2 years ago, the Pentagon or some American official, you know, channel started saying, you know, on the normal news, you know, that aliens probably do exist and they had evidence. And I thought, that's weird, you know, that all these years they've always denied it, and they're suddenly starting to say, you know, is like they're paving the way, you know, they're planting the seed in people's minds so that when it does happen, people are much more likely to believe it and be like, oh yeah, they kind of did try and say that, you know. So yeah, after years and years of people being called crazy for seeing flying objects, you know, it could well go the other way. And also, if they have been testing out flying objects the last 50, 60 years, that would explain why people have seen these things and have had weird occurrences happen, wouldn't it? That would explain it. So, it's interesting. They've obviously got a lot of technology that they are keeping secret for whatever reason. Now, why would they keep that secret? Yeah, again, it kind of makes sense that they might be withholding it from the public on purpose, because they may well know that the day might come when it will be, you know, handy for them, convenient for them, and it will make everybody just go along with whatever they want, you know, because when people are in fear, they're going to just be like, please, we need government, you know, because at the moment a lot of people are saying, what's the point of government? You know, they seem to be proving themselves pretty useless. Worse than useless, I would say. They've actually like against the people. It's like we're actually in a war with our own governments, not just in Britain but around the world. I think that's quite a common theme. A lot of people are just feeling like, you know, we'd be better off without them, which I think actually we probably would. So yeah, why do we need them? Well, in the event of an outside threat like the aliens, of course, people would be like, oh, we're so glad we've got these, you know, big armies and big governments. So yeah, I think be interesting. It's a fun end to the film, the film of our lives. But I don't think there's any point in, you know, yeah, worrying too much or taking any of it too seriously, because, you know, there's no point taking life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive. So yeah, I just think everyone has to make the most of the time they've got, however long that is. It might be a year, it might be 10 years. Yeah, who knows what's going to get us first? Will it be the aliens? Will it be ourselves in a nuclear war? Or will it be a very slow climate change thing that we're causing, which we may or may not be causing? I mean, really, all we know about the climate is that it has always changed. There's always been ice ages, and then it's warmed up, and then, you know, so that's a given, really, whether we're here on the planet or not. So yeah, I know when the dinosaurs existed, it was very hot and then it went cold, so I don't think you could really say the dinosaurs were to blame for that. Could you? Or maybe it was their big farts, I'm not sure. It could have been.